Hello. Welcome back to Queen Oddball Therapy and my very first Storytime video. I do have a different voice synthesizer for this one, and if you like it better, I may continue using this one throughout my videos. While we're on that note, my narratives will have a different voice than this one, so you can differentiate between me and the character whose story it is. This one features a fictional character named Maya, who has had a lot of disapproval for being her emotionally sensitive self, which causes her to have problems later in life. Before I dive into the story, there are a few things I would like you to do for me. First off, I want you to try as hard as you can to put yourself in this woman's shoes. Imagine being in her situation. Really try to see this from more than one perspective. This is kind of a social experiment after all. I would like you to tell me if you can relate to her, if there is anything you learned from this, and how you would like this story to end. There are no conclusions in this story, I'm leaving the end open for discussion. Please be careful what you say. We must express ourselves, but we must also avoid being too judgmental. Think about how you'd like others to talk to you if this was your situation and go by that. Also, leave me any questions you have in the comments below. If you're feeling unsure about putting your personal business out there, my email address will be in the description and we can talk about it more privately. It's better to express than repress. Now, let's get right to it.
Hello. I'm Maya. Let me tell you about some lifelong issues that have been affecting me so much that I can no longer express myself as freely as I would like. Let me start off by saying I am a highly sensitive person, which means I am able to observe and detect things many people overlook or ignore. It also means that I have a higher level of empathy for others and myself. I also get overwhelmed more easily than others, and I feel negativity more intensely than many others. When I was a kid, I would cry when I was angry or didn't feel safe. People took this very poorly, including my parents. Sure, I cried a bunch when I was a preschooler, but in elementary, middle school and so on, I only cried when I was angry or guilty or afraid something bad would happen to me. It is important for people like me to grow up in a supportive environment where emotional expression is allowed. If I didn't cry when I needed to, I would feel even worse. I may get depressed or anxious or feel sick. I did not grow up in an emotionally supportive, socially accepting environment. However, I grew up in an environment where people thought of sensitive as meaning weak, thin-skinned, emotionally immature, and something one must get over to make it in this world. Even though I had a father with a dreadful temper, he got by more than I did when it came to anger. I was never allowed to be angry. People always accused me of choosing to be angry, even though this was not the case. It was a sin to have any kind of anger or fear, because people always reacted as if I was ill or messed up. I was berated any time I cried and told that I should always be in control of myself at all times. How dare I cry in front of anyone? It was okay for someone to be mad at me, but not for me to be mad at anyone else. I saw some seriously tender-hearted children in my life that clearly needed toughening up. However, those kids got away with it as if it was totally acceptable, even in high school. I was also told never to be mad about the past no matter what, which I always felt was a bunch of BS. I'm not one to forget about things that happened in my life, and to me, that's not a bad thing. However, everyone else around me looked at me like I chose that and it was a bad choice. People always berated me if anything got to me. Even my own family tried to crack down on my sensitivities, thinking that was the only way to toughen me up. Look here. Sensitivity and toughness are not opposite. I am much stronger than people think I am, and you would think they'd realize that. They don't. They only see the negative connotations they've attached to my sensitivity. I was told I would never be able to keep a job because I couldn't take what they called constructive criticism. Here's the thing, it was anything but constructive. People told me I spent too much time crying when I didn't get what I wanted. That was true when I was a toddler. However, from age 10 up, that wasn't the case. I didn't cry over not getting what I wanted, I cried when I didn't get what I needed. So many of my psychological needs were unmet, so I got upset about it for good reason. However, in the eyes of my family, friends, and teachers, crying never solved anything. Now keep in mind, not every one of these people were sociopaths, some of them were bigger babies than me and they still didn't accept me. The adults I grew up with lived by this made-up BS rule that you should scold and punish sensitive people until they learn not to cry or express any negative emotion. If you were depressed, oh well. You were on your own. You had a disease and it was all in your head. My folks were obsessed with the belief that it's all in your head, not your environment, and that your thoughts are the problem. Where's the sense in that? You were sick and needed to be cured of cognitive distortions. That was the majority mindset. These people believed in only being positive at all times, never thinking about problems, never being upset or miserable or angry or stressed or worried about anything. Life's too short for that, they would say. So you're telling me life is too short to be a human and have feelings? To that I say, WTF is this crap? What kind of world am I being forced to live in? It was all about conformity. I learned I could never be myself without paying a huge price. I had to face the decision between my own mental health and my relationships. It's not just my community either, it's everywhere in society. You either had to conform or be kicked out or changed. Even the people who believed in individuality tried to change how you dealt with the hate, which is also a part of who you are. You can never really be yourself in our society unless you plan on living a life of solitude. That's where I see myself. I'd rather be isolated and supporting myself than conforming for a bunch of people I don't have secure relationships with and risk losing myself. Now, I've forgotten how to cry. I needed to get rid of the emotional pain, but I can't anymore. I haven't been able to cry in years, even though I still feel the pain in my wounded soul. Since I'm afraid to hurt anyone, my anger builds up and stays there. My emotional basement is so full I cannot get anything out. I don't trust a soul anymore, so I don't want to talk to anyone about it. I don't want any new friends or relationships. My anxious, avoidant attachment is still the same as it always has been, but I'm more aware of it. I would like to be able to work things out with my parents and tell them all the emotions I've kept secret and what it has done to me. I want to teach them how to be more empathetic like me and see others' perspectives. I just want to open their minds and maybe rekindle our relationship. However, I'm so afraid to do so. I'm afraid of everyone because I get too easily manipulated. Even therapists I talk to do this to me. They look for the problem inside my head, not in the culture or society or my social environment. They try to make me think something that's not true. They tell me to distract myself. None of this helps, so I gave up therapy. I'm done talking about what people call my irrational thoughts and why I should change how I think, which, again, is part of my being just like my emotions. I'm the only one that understands me and realizes I can't be fixed because I'm not broken. However, I can't carry myself like that in public, because this belief still doesn't protect me from manipulation no matter how hard I hold on. No matter how in control I am, something outside of my control knocks me right back down. And on top of that, I don't want to be a control freak either. I also don't want to be that person that believes in just sitting there, never being in control of your life and just ignoring every bad thing that happens to you and letting it just slide off your back. Those people have no empathy and they can be a bit impulsive. I especially don't like the way people are control freaks over themselves. My mother, for example, would beat herself up over getting her feelings hurt or anything getting to her. As a result, she tends to try to control how other people are. Because she doesn't accept herself, she doesn't accept others either, and I'm not sure she's aware of it. I'm so hyper aware of everything it's scary. I do accept myself. However, this does not lessen my insecurities nearly enough. I'm afraid I'll just have to live a secret life and talk the dreaded small talk I hate so much, as most highly sensitive people do. I am scarred for life in more ways than one. I dare not give my heart to anyone. I would rather just be friendly without being friends. It's the only way I feel safe. If you know anyone who is dealing with any of the stuff I'm dealing with, I urge you to be accepting and let that person be who they are. Please try to look back on how you treat people like that. Do you order them to shake it off or get over it or stop dwelling in the past, or do you give them open ears and support them as you are supposed to and be that friend they always needed? Stop trying to fix people that aren't broken or they will be broken. That's my story.